Hello everyone, welcome to another session from Kitchener Developer Group. Today we have Johann and we are really excited to know about his journey from an awesome admin to a certified technical architect. Quick introduction of myself. My name is Shudipto Dev. I am a Salesforce independent technical architect. I'm a platform champion. This is my blog. I'm 12x Salesforce certified application architect leading the Kitchener Developer Group. I have a couple of trailhead badges and this is my Twitter handle. So without any further delay, I would like to hand over this to Johan.
Thank you very much for having me. This is so first of all, thanks all of you for dropping by. What time is it? I actually didn't know. Is it lunchtime?
No, it's 2 EST, 2 p.m.
So maybe first thing I'm always curious, what did you have for lunch? Maybe you write it in the chat. And if somebody is not from Canada and not from local, so if somebody joined internationally, feel free. With this presentation, I tried something a couple of days ago, which was, I don't know if we should do it again, but I found it fun is that you actually ask questions in between because it's a 30-minute presentation. And I found it interesting if people just, speak up. Is this something you would like to do?
Yes, I'm open to that. No problem at all. So I can start. I had pizza in the lunch because I want to make it first and it's end of the week.
Pizza sounds good.
Yeah.
I still am working on the 5 kilograms I gained after I got my CTA. I think my body just shut down, so no pizza for me today. And I have to reach a certain goal and then I'm allowed to have pizza again. I am an admin by heart and I will stay an admin by heart, and there's nothing I enjoy more than adopting a page layout. Not for the technical part, but for making business users happy. I still do this day. Today, I did a data migration of a small 3 licensed Salesforce org, and I imported 15 rows of account data. Wow. I still love doing that. I still love getting these emails. You know these emails where you send the customer, the users, hey, I imported your accounts, and you get back the, thank you so much, you made my life easier.
That's true.
This is why I became an admin. This is also why I became an architect. I also want to build good orgs because I noticed at some point, in order to make my users truly happy, I also have to understand architecture. But it is much more to that. And over the next 30 minutes, I want to take you on my personal journey.
Awesome.
Before that, Refugee Force, just if you ever are in the situation, this is an European, a Dutch non-for-profit, maybe you copy the idea. They train refugees on Salesforce. It's really successful, actually. They because you all know Salesforce is something you can be trained. They train them on Salesforce. So these people become highly motivated, highly well-educated Salesforce people. And if you ever have the chance, hire a refugee today or donate money. They are an NGO. They always need money. But now, out of the way. I'm Johann from Berlin. Some of you might know me. I'm currently pretty active on LinkedIn. So please reach out on Twitter and LinkedIn to me. I'm currently not full-time employed, so I'm always happy to take a chat. I always get something out of it. I'm a Salesforce nerd by heart. So if you have anything about Salesforce, I'm always happy. Yesterday, I had long chats about flows. I didn't know enough about flows. I'm an architect by trade, but a developer curiosity and admin by heart. I like to code, but still my love is with everything which is click. And recently I started about a couple of months ago to develop App Exchange apps. I developed them under the brand of Admins Helper, by admins, for admins. These are small but sophisticated apps which make you as the admin the hero of your users. One example is my fabulous confetti app. Some of you might have seen it on LinkedIn.
Yep, absolutely.
Quite fun, quite fun to develop actually. But I didn't start out like that. I started out, it was 6 years ago in December. It was really cold in Berlin. It was the coldest winter we had in the last 10 years. I was at my first Salesforce community event, exactly like you here. The difference is it was an in-person event and we had pizza. I still remember the pizza. It was cold, sloppy community event pizza. You know this kind of pizza? You know, the one which sits too long on the counter?
Right.
Yes, I love this kind of, I have a soft spot for cold, sloppy, cheesy pizza. And I decided I want to become an architect. I was intrigued with the Salesforce community. I decided shortly after I want to become an architect. I don't even remember why. I think it was because of money. I want to be honest there. I learned how much architects make. And the second thing is I'm a nerd. I like studying. And becoming an architect is a great excuse to study all day long. And I knew it was a long journey. So on the top left, you see, I thought it's a long ride, but it's a long ride into the sunset. What I didn't know it is a long ride through a dark, dark forest. For a long time, I didn't see no sun. There was really bad enemies, in this case, dragons ahead of me. I had to overcome quite some obstacles, and I don't want to hide them today. In the next 30 minutes, I also will talk about my failures. I also will talk about my doubts, my problems. After 5 years, I reached the final castle, which is the CTA review board, which is the Certified Technical Architect test. And as with every castle, you can't storm a castle alone. This was a group effort. I laid siege, to use the same image, together with a group of friends. We laid siege to that castle for 11 months. And finally, together, as a huge group, at the end it was 20, 30 people, we all together got our final prize. We got the prints, we became CTA. And so far of my whole group, there's only 2 people missing. The rest of us became CTA. And I think I will come back to that at the end, is because we did it together. Nobody reaches it alone. This is my personal way. I said nobody reaches it alone. I actually know one guy, Lawrence, he reached it alone. So whatever I tell you today is my story, my way. Everyone is different. So Lawrence, for example, coming back, he did it completely different way. And it's always changing. Please always check with Salesforce about the latest information. What I tell you today was true October 2020. It might not be true anymore. Everything changes all the time. So this is the disclaimer. Now we do it interactively. Who knows what the CTA is, Certified Technical Architect? Who has a feeling and understanding?
I have a little bit. I haven't gone through that journey yet, but I know a little bit.
Somebody else in the group, or we all know Salesforce certifications. Or Rogelio, you unmuted yourself. I saw it.
Yeah, you guys can unmute.
Yeah. Hi, and thank you. Yeah, actually, I am new in Salesforce. I started learning this February 2021. I am almost ready for my first certification test.
Yes.
Yes.
Can do.
Let's do a big clap.
Big clap. And I want to tell you, the first one is the hardest one.
Correct.
Yeah, it's been hard. I'm gonna do the platform app builder.
Wow, you start. Wow.
Yeah.
Let us know when you pass. The first one is the hardest. It becomes easier afterwards. I think it's with everything in life, kind of.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. If we all help each other, this is what I like so much about the Salesforce community. We are happy for each other's success.
Absolutely.
Always. We all know Salesforce certifications. There are 25, 30 out there. The Salesforce Certified Technical Architect is the pinnacle. From a numbers point of view, more people have been to space than people who became Certified Technical Architect. There are about 300 to 450, I don't know the exact number, don't quote me on it, globally who passed the Certified Technical Architect certificate. So the number is really, really low. It was developed 10 years ago by Salesforce with a single goal. Salesforce got bigger and bigger customers, and they wanted to make sure that these big projects are a success. And this is why they developed the Certified Technical Architect. In order to be just allowed to go for the Certified Technical Architect, you have to have all these certificates here on this pyramid, but I would say you have to have at least 15 certificates to go for the CTA. CTA is the abbreviation for Certified Technical Architect. Going forward, I will always use CTA instead of Certified Technical Architect because I'm not native English, and Certified Technical Architect is really hard for me to say. So it's absolutely the pinnacle. Maybe a couple of hundred people a year try to get it, and the failure rate is still, again, don't quote me, something like 75 to 95% of the people who try fail. Usually you don't learn about the people who fail, you'll only learn about the successes. There's one guy, Martin, out there who shared his failure as well, which is very, very helpful. In order to become the Salesforce Certified Technical Architect, the CTA, it's a completely different exam. It is a 6-hour exam, something like that. In my case, 6.5 hours. It's not a multiple choice exam. You get a 12-page requirement document. Then you get 3 hours to solve all the requirements in the document and prepare a 45-minute presentation on PowerPoint, or doesn't have to be PowerPoint, but yeah. Then you do a 45-minute presentation in front of 3 judges who are already CTA. And afterwards, you have a 45 minutes where the CTA judges ask you any question. Anything they want to ask you, they can ask you. Everything, Salesforce, and much, much more. And investment, most people invest something like $8,000 to $20,000, and something like 500 to 1,500 hours of study time to become CTA. It's quite an investment and it's quite hard. And I personally, I did it out of a couple of reasons. One of them is it is there, it's hard, and I like challenges. I mean, you know, other people like to run a marathon. I will never do that. Some people start a family. I did the CTA. It's kind of, you know, it's a challenge. It's something I wanted to conquer. It's also an absolute career boost. It's just, we can be frank here. The income increases. It's way easier to get jobs. It's easy to get hired. It's just really great. And lastly, this is very important for me. I'm a nerd. I like studying. This is something I enjoy. I always study continuously since I'm small, I study, and I will always continue to study my whole life. I'm currently also studying something new. And so this is why I went for the CTA despite it being so hard. But 2015, I knew about CTA roughly. I didn't know how hard it is. I had 3 certifications. This was my second Salesforce job as a Salesforce admin, as a small end customer, 200 users, and I worked part-time, so 24 hours a week. This is something I do differently than most people, and this is something I actually would recommend. I never work full-time. I always work part-time. Even now, I study 8 to 16 hours every week. Sorry. I go deeper into that later. This is a keyword collect.
Sorry to interrupt you. There is one question from Joseph, like, the time and money that you mentioned, right, as an investment, is it for only for the CTA or all the certification, like 15 or whatever certification?
Only the CTA.
Only the CTA, yeah.
Yeah. So basically the effort I invested in all certificates up to the CTA, I doubled. So the CTA is as much effort as all certificates up to that point together.
Correct.
At least from a time perspective. Because I usually invest about 100 hours per certificate, sometimes a little bit lower, sometimes a little bit higher. So I have 16 certifications besides CTA, so I invested about 1,600 hours.
Correct.
Most people who go for the CTA are part of one of the big customers, big companies like Deloitte, Capgemini, PwC, or Salesforce itself. I did the opposite. I joined a super small startup at the end of the world, and I was an admin there for a small end customer working Wednesdays to Fridays. And a CTA is so much more. You have to know so many different things, which is not Salesforce knowledge. And the key to all of that is communication. But around that, you have to know about ESB, enterprise data model, role hierarchy, migration, limits, hierarchy, microservices. You have to be really good at English. This is something I had to study because I'm native German. You still can. I'm still not that good, so I had to become better. And to read it from the exam guide. As Salesforce technical architects serve as executive-level strategic advisors who focus on business transformation with unrivaled domain expertise and functional platform and integration architecture. They communicate technical solutions and design trade-offs effectively to business stakeholders and provide a delivery framework that ensures quality and success. What I'm really good is actually highlighting. I learned over this last years that highlighting is one of the keys to navigate huge amounts of information in a quick way and highlighting strategically. So let's go through it step by step. And CTA talks on the executive level strategic topic level, but also has unrivaled domain expertise, which means you still have to know the details. It's not enough that you understand the concept. I still have to know what a lead assignment rule can do and what it can't do, and how many lead assignment rules you can have active at the same time, and what's the limit on criteria-based sharing rule, and how to share price books. Because I have to be a functional platform and integration architecture expert in everything, not just Salesforce, but also how to integrate it with other systems. And I have to communicate technical solutions, but also trade-offs. There's always more than one solution to every problem, and there's never an optimal solution. Each solution has trade-offs. You know, flow versus process builder versus workflow versus trigger. Everything has advantages, disadvantages, and I have to then make a decision and communicate this decision, and this is a keyword here, to my business stakeholders. The word certified technical architect is a little bit misleading. I wouldn't say we are not so much technical. We are more on the business side of things. Sure, I have to understand technology, but I have to be able to communicate this to business people. And I have to make sure that the project is delivered in time, in budget, with the right amount of quality to make the customer happy, or success as it says, but I want to like happy. Happy customers, this is why we do it. Little did I know 2015 how much this takes. I was really naive back then. I thought like 2 to 3 years, then I have it. You know, I had a friend who also already was an architect that was like, okay, I had no idea how long this road will be. As you can see here from all the areas of a CTA, I had nothing. I knew a little bit about Salesforce. I was okay at communication, and everything else I was just really, really bad. But one step at a time, as with every good journey. And one of my keys to success is I don't work full time. I always only work part time, because I think we should have, yes, a work life balance, but we have to have a work study balance. If I want to summarize my job, I am paid to know stuff. I'm not paid to Google stuff. I'm paid to know stuff. The more I know, the more I get paid. And my customers expect me to know stuff. And in order to know stuff, I have to study. If I just work, I will never learn more stuff. I will learn a little bit randomly. I personally always study Mondays to Tuesdays, 8 to 16 hours a day. Ever since I joined this, ever since 6 years ago, ever since I switched to part-time, I still do this to this day. I study a lot. So 2 out of 5 days at least per week is studying. Currently, I study again full-time. 2 weeks ago, I made it a goal for myself to learn about marketing, and I do nothing but study right now. If I can make you take away one thing today, study more and work less. I mean, some people out there can work and study, work full-time and study 20 hours a week. Like some of you might know Chitendra, for example. He's one of these machines. I am not. I can maybe do 50 hours a week, 40 hours mostly. So have a work-study balance. And one of the things I studied was coding. So a question is, in order to become an architect, do I need to be a coder? Most people would think yes. I would disagree there. You don't need to be an expert, but you need to understand code. Nevertheless, understanding code well helps you a lot of things. It helps you. This is the most important thing for me personally. I'm self-sufficient now. I can build stuff myself. I don't have to wait for developers to change the label on this Lightning component. If something bad happens Friday afternoon, you know, we have a bug in our live system and can't convert leads anymore because we have a null point exception on the trigger, I can fix it. This is really great. I can build prototypes. I can test stuff myself. I can way better design solutions because I understand how it works under the hood. We still work with technology. So knowing to code still helps understanding technology. And it gives me credibility. I mean, you know, developers respect developers. And if I'm an architect and I don't know how to code, it's always an uphill battle against the developers in the room. It's always hard to explain why my solution is the correct solution if I don't know code. So it gives me credibility. Hey, I'm still a shitty coder. Don't ever let me touch your code. No, kind of. Don't let me touch, but make sure you check it afterwards. I'm a mediocre developer at best, but I understand code. I understand the trade-offs. I understand when to use code and when not to use code. And I learned coding the same way I use coding here as an example as I learn almost everything. Like the same way I learn marketing right now. So first I joined Trailhead. Always. Trailhead is the first step. Then I also did Code Academy, which is similar. Then I got my certifications, Platform Developer 1 and 2. This is the second thing I want to give you is, if you study something, study it properly. If you do this, the app builder, it was, sorry, I forgot the name. If you go for the Rogelio, if you go for the app builder, don't just study to pass. Study to really understand the topic. Really make sure that when you go into the certification, you are sure you understood it. You know, don't just pass with 72%, pass with 90, 95, 99%. Because it's not about the certification, it's about the knowledge. So what I did once I got my certifications, I found side projects. Most of them have been made up projects I did on the weekends. You know, I built a voice-controlled Salesforce at some point, which was completely pointless, but it was a great challenge. I built a document sorting app, which was also completely pointless, but it was a great challenge. I got non-for-profit work, which is also nice. And the lastly is, this is another trick which I stumbled across randomly. I volunteered for bug fixing. At first I did it secretly. I stayed after work, I stayed a couple of hours longer and just looked at the bugs we got reported from our users and tried to figure out what's the issue. So I had to look at other people's code. In this way, it's a great way of learning. So I tried to figure out how to fix them. First, I just looked at the code. At some point, I was good enough to actually fix it myself and show it to the developers. And so slowly I got better. I think first level support and second level support is a great way to learn. So, and no team lead will ever complain if you do the bug fixing. Coding was something I got kind of experience with bug fixing and some, but there's so many areas where I don't get hands-on experience. It's just not possible to have hands-on experience with everything. It's, you know, I learn about omnichannel today. That means I don't learn about maps. I can't have experience in Marketing Cloud and Pardot. I cannot have experience in community. Somebody who tells you he or she has hands-on experience in everything lies. Because even if I did something 2 years ago, the hands-on experience is not valid anymore because the platform changes so fast. So you have to substitute experience some way or another. And I find it starts with trailheads and certifications, but it does not end there. The same with coding. Once I get my certificate, let's say Lightning Scheduler, I go into blogs, I join study groups, I join community events, I watch YouTube videos, I do side projects. Some are real, some are made up. I try to get hands-on, made up hands-on experience. Again, non-for-profit work. And lastly, you would be surprised how easy it is to get contact on LinkedIn with experts. You know, somebody posts about Lightning Scheduler on LinkedIn, or Lightning Scheduler is just an example. Neha will do a presentation tomorrow about Lightning Scheduler. She is an expert in Lightning Scheduler. Contact her on LinkedIn and ask her, hey, I did my certification in Lightning Scheduler. I read a couple of blog posts. I have a couple of questions. Do you have time for half an hour call, expert interviews? Most people will say yes. Of course, sometimes you get no answer, sometimes you get a no, but expert interviews are a really great way on finishing something or substituting experience because you learn from others. But don't go into expert interviews not doing your homework. So do your homework first and then go into the interviews. Then experts will be happy to chat with you. And so far, it was all pretty rosy, or wasn't it? It was really smooth sailing. I had a plan, I studied a lot, I worked, I got experience. It wasn't all green or golden. The first challenge was the lack of motivation. It's a pretty long and lonely journey. It's Monday morning, 11 o'clock, and I do another trail. and another trail, and another trail, and another trail, and nobody cares. Literally nobody. Nobody cares that I just went from 168 to 169 trails. Yes, people say like on LinkedIn when I do another certification, but the 100 hours of studying alone on the evening, on the weekends, nobody sees. The next one is lack of promotions. As far as I see it, this is a very personal, it's easier to become team lead than to become architect. Not that I say that team lead is not a hard job. I couldn't do it. It's too hard for me. But there's way more team leads than architects out there. There's way more leadership positions. It's you usually, if you do it a little bit smart, you become a team lead after a couple of years. To become an architect, it takes many more years. So I didn't get promoted. I studied hard, I worked hard, and there was no promotions. It's also because of me and the company I was in, but you know what I mean? It felt bad. It was a really, really long-term investment. I did the numbers on it. It's a 9-year it takes for me to pay off that investment compared to just work hard and study less and go for a team lead position. 9 years. And this gave me a lot of inner doubts. But the inner doubts also have been, can I do it? Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? These other people are so smart. Why should I be allowed to be an architect? Why should I have a chance of passing the CTA when 90% of the people who try it fail? And the same was external people. There was people up to the day of my review board, up to the day of my test, who told me, you're never gonna be it. You don't have what it takes. You don't have architect thinking. You never worked for big companies. I never worked for enterprise architecture. I had never seen a Salesforce org with 1,000 users. There was a lot of doubts. And you know, it goes to you. This is nothing you can shake. It's the doubts are there. I had the doubts myself every day, like literally every day. Sure, I had moments of confidence, but I had a lot of moments of doubts. I tried to visualize the goal. There was short-term goals, like literally, I want to go to get to 100 certification trails. I want to get to 120 trails. I want to understand Einstein Analytics. I want to get to the next certification. I want to get 200 trails. And at some point it was, I want to become a CTA. So visualize the goals and make it small milestones. Try to make achievable milestones, but there's always a goal. I still have another goal now. It's always just another milestone on a lifelong journey. The journey never ends. And I think these topics, these challenges will stay the same challenges for all my life. They will never go away. Everything I do is a long-term investment. I usually don't go for the short-term, get rich quick scheme. I take often the longer route, maybe because I like it. I still have doubts to this day. Right now I doubt myself. Am I good enough? Other people doubt me. Visualize the goal one step at a time. But in good news, 2019 I got actually promoted, kind of randomly. Out of the company I was working for was still a startup, but it grew to 1,000 users. This was none of it was my doing, like literally none. I was just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. We grew to 1,000 users, 25 Salesforce people, because the C-level made a decision that Salesforce teams should strategically grow. So I was really lucky. What was my doing was I had 350 trails and 16 certifications, which is technical knowledge. And what is more important is I had a Salesforce network of professionals. It was small, it wasn't too big, but it was there, and it was the seed for something bigger. Having a reliable network is the key to success. You have to have people who help you to succeed, who support you in dark times, who support you in good times, who help you with knowledge, with motivation, with feedback. Hey, also with honest truth. I mean, I have a couple of friends who are really mean in a good way. Not that they are mean people, but they are honest. Do you know Dutch honest? Do you know German honest? Do you know, it's a different type of honest. We are not friendly people. It's important, this professional network, because this carried me forward to the next level. One of the next levels was public speaking. Whatever we do, we have to convince people. We have to convince people of our solutions, of our ideas, of our promotions. And being a decent public speaker is a really huge help, because communication is at the heart of almost everything we do. It's most of the times the technical part is actually the easy part. In order for me to become a better public speaker, you might recognize the strategy now. It's the same strategy again. Walk before you run. So I start little, learn from others. I did the trails. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. I read books. I joined a communication training class. Then I did as many private and local presentations as I could get my hands on. My colleagues can sing a song about it, because I just did at least one presentation per week in my company during lunchtime. Sometimes nobody showed up. Sometimes a lot of people showed up. The more presentations you give, the better you become. I still have to practice every day. My parents actually make a living out of giving presentations. They do this now since 30 years, several times a week. This is their job. And they still tell me they still have to practice every time. Even to stay on their level they have to practice. So practice with small presentations. Then I went on to bigger and bigger presentations. And I was really lucky. I got accepted for Dreamforce. This was pure luck, I would say. I was super happy. The topic I got accepted was mastering project management for admins. I learned my lesson there. Take a niche topic. It's easier to get in with something which is niche. Everybody talks about flows. Everybody talks about process builder. Nobody talks about project management for admins. This is maybe the third takeaway I want to give you. Don't go for world domination. Don't do what everybody else does. It's a crowded market. Take a niche, something small, something you feel at home, something you feel good about, something you have fun doing. On the contrary, you have to also do stuff that's not fun. You have to become inconvenient. Our Salesforce bubble is really, really nice. It's really cozy. It's warm. We know each other. We know the platform. The Ohana is warm and welcoming. For me personally, for example, I can be who I am in the Salesforce community. I can't be that everywhere. I have to leave the Salesforce bubble on a regular basis. I have to become inconvenient. Just a couple of weeks ago, I did now it becomes down. A Java Enterprise Architecture Software Summit. I did it this time. Java Enterprise Architecture Software Summit. It was a 3-day conference. It was completely virtual. I have no idea about Java. I can't write a single line of code of Java. But I know that Java Enterprise architects have similar problems as we have. They are also building enterprise-based software. So it was really, really helpful for me. I was really inconvenient because I had no idea, but it was also very helpful to learn from them, to learn how they solve issues, what issues they have and how they solve them. And I took away so much. But this is not the only thing. I also do other stuff where I'm inconvenient. I talk to CTOs who are not Salesforce people. I talk to developers who are not Salesforce people. I talk to CMOs who are not Salesforce people. I talk to coaches. I talk to so many people outside of Salesforce. And some of them became my allies and support me on my way. They have no idea what Salesforce is, but they still can help me. And how do I know I'm at the right spot? I feel inconvenient. If I feel uncomfortable, I'm doing the right thing. It has to be something I'm not happy about doing. So right now, for me, it's marketing. I told you at the beginning, I develop App Exchange apps now. The coding part is the fun part. This is what I enjoy. It's really great. The marketing part is something I feel really uncomfortable with. It's really something I have to force myself to do. This means I'm at the right spot. I know I have, in order to become better, it has to be uncomfortable. The people of you who do sport know it. You don't become faster by running slow. You have to go to your limit again and again and again. Break out of your bubble. And I did that. 2019, I invested 4 years of so 400 of days of studying roundabout. I felt pretty good. I felt like I have Salesforce knowledge. I was still bad at integration architecture, governance. I was really bad at C-level thinking. As I told you, I worked at a startup, and startups have one problem. They don't have C-levels. Because in a startup, you have these low hierarchies. That means you don't convince your boss, you just do it. So I never learned how to talk to CEOs or CTOs, because there was technically a CTO, but he didn't behave any different than my colleagues. I just made a decision and told him about it, but usually even not that. So I had to learn C-level thinking like a leader, and I did it again the same way. I read books, I read documentation, I watched videos, and finally I interviewed a couple of CTOs. Again, I reached out on LinkedIn randomly, kind of. Most people didn't answer, most CTOs, busy people, but I found three, and three of them, they talked to me, and I asked them simple questions. What do people like me usually do wrong? What's common mistakes people like me make? What do you expect from somebody like me? So how should I talk to you? This was actually really helpful. And then I always take notes and I practice. And this way, at least I learned on a theoretical level to think like a leader. I still had no experience, but it was enough to pass the review board. And I think it's currently enough to be able to at least kind of communicate on a C level. So I felt ready. This was October 2019. I quit my job full-time. I became a full-time journey to CTA. I did nothing else for 11 months but study for CTA, Salesforce Certified Technical Architect. I joined at least 3 study groups. It's hard to calculate because I met with so many people to study. I had one daily study group. This was the core. We met every morning at 7 o'clock. My partner hates it. My partner asked me, please don't do this ever again, because every morning at 7 o'clock I was at the computer, and we live in a 1.5 bedroom apartment. So it's kind of, she could hear that. I studied 1,450 hours. I spent about $18,000 with not counting the lost income. Salesforce puts out test exams. We did 35 of them. Each of them takes 6 to 8 hours. So this is really tough. Every Saturday was for test exams. And I had 2 nervous breakdowns, like complete breakdowns. I still can remember the first one. At some point, I closed my laptop and I couldn't open my laptop for 2 weeks. I was just not able to learn anything about Salesforce, think about Salesforce, nothing. I thought I'm done. I was lucky. 2 weeks later, I kind of snapped out of it. And the second time around, I already knew what happened. So I already was like, okay, take a break, just wait 2 weeks. It's going to be over again. But it felt horrible. And after the 11 months of Salesforce final marathon, I wasn't the lady here on the left. I was this guy. I was done. I was feeling so old. I was so tired. I was so annoyed. I got pretty good at a lot of stuff and mediocre at a lot of other stuff. The only thing I think I'm really good is Salesforce standard knowledge, which is outdated by now because we had a release in between, 2 releases actually. So my knowledge is outdated. So I have to actually change it now to good, back to good. I still knew I had a big chance of failing, and I didn't feel confident. I felt kind of confident that I passed, but not like, I didn't know it's a sure thing. I knew I had a shot at it, and I knew I could pass. But you never know what happens on that day. The big day came. It was 6.5 hours end to end. It started at 1 o'clock and it ended at, I can't remember, in the evening. It was dark. It was completely virtual, which was great for me. I'm a nerd. I don't like to leave home. I like to stay at home. I really feel comfortable here. I had nice but really challenging judges. As I told you, they can ask you anything, literally anything. If their area of expertise is data migration, then they can ask you about data migration, whatever they want. They have been nice. They are helpful. They want you to pass. It's not that they are mean, like mean teachers or so. But they have to be challenging. Actually, this is nothing what I looked like. This is how my desk looked like. This was the best day of my life because this was cheat day. For 6.5 hours, I was eating constantly and I was eating all the junk food in the world. The whole desk was full of sweets and bread and butter and cheese. And I had all the pizza afterwards and it was amazing. I gained 5 kilo afterwards. My body just gained 5 kilo after I passed my CTA, after the test. And so I finished, I think it was 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. I went to bed, and for the next, you have to wait for about 2 weeks to get the results. So the problem is you don't know when the results come. You just know at some point you get an email, the same email you actually get when you pass any other certificate. It's exactly the same email. And one Wednesday morning, I checked my phone, and it was there. I had the email. I became a Salesforce technical architect. You can't imagine how happy I was. This was the happiest, no, not the happiest day of my life, but a really, really happy day. And I thought that the journey is over. I thought this is it. But it's actually pretty quickly it sink in. It's just a milestone. It's just another step in a lifelong journey which never stops. Yes, it's a really happy milestone, but it's not over. I got something out of it, which is more important than the knowledge. I learned, and this is what I would change looking back. I would collaborate more. I would start earlier to collaborate. For the first couple of years, I had studied almost exclusively alone, and I didn't collaborate too much. Collaboration is the key to success. Nobody reaches the goal alone. Never. The more we collaborate, the better we become. This presentation here is a collaboration. I don't know if you know them. Johannes Fischer, he's also, and Alexandra, they helped me create this presentation. I have to thank my partner. You know how often I explained the OAuth flow to my partner? My partner has no idea about technology. My partner almost got crazy. My friends got crazy because I couldn't talk about anything else but the CTA for a whole year. Everybody, I talked only about CTA, nothing else. My study groups, my coaches, so many people all over the world who helped me. I can't list them all. So many people helped me to succeed. It's not me alone, it's a group effort. It's a team effort. It's the whole Ohana helped me. Everybody who ever wrote a blog post, everybody who ever ran a community event helped me become a CTA. So 6 years ago, I started on a long journey. And yes, there was the dark forest, but there was people actually on the way who helped me. There was people who helped me, who overcome these dragons. You know, I was stuck with Process Builder, and I found this random blog who explained how to crack that super badge. And I had friends who helped me to storm the castle, to get the prince at the end. I had friends who helped me to become Salesforce technical architect. And thank you very much for being here with me. You can't imagine how emotional this presentation is. Giving this talk, being able to relive these years again together with you, and to also know that some of you, almost all of you, are also on your journey. It might not be the CTA, but all here we are on a journey, and we walk this journey together. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much for giving me the time and the place to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan. Like, I'm speechless. Trust me. I uh, I was super excited about this session. Definitely, and I was so many questions for you in my mind. But after going through this journey, after seeing the presentation, I can still feel the emotion that you are still having in your mind, and your the way you are closing your eyes and just thinking about that. I'm speechless. I have no question for you. The only takeaway from this presentation, you inspired, at least I can talk my thing, you inspired me a lot. It's so helpful. I love the way you described your journey. I understand your pain, and I can only say we are so thankful that you are presenting, you are sharing your journey, and you are with us as Ohana.
Thank you. Thank you. I just try to give back a little what I got all over the years. Thousands and thousands of people helped me always. This is nothing I can ever repay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there any questions? I'm always learning from the questions, I have to say. I like to learn something. Ask me.
Hello, this is Rogelio again. Dankeschön, Johan. I'd like to learn German at some point.
Don't. This okay. If you take away one thing, don't learn German. It's a horrible language.
But I like it. It's easier than English because it's more phonetic. English is more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm from
I like
Mexico.
German. Yeah, German is a fun language.
Yeah,
No, nobody ever said that.
yeah, I like it. I like it better than English for sure.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
Anyways, let's not.
Okay, now thank you so much. Yeah, same as Sudipta. This was very inspiring, not only for my goals in Salesforce, but for other goals that I want to pursue. I guess the biggest takeaway for me is just to follow a goal with passion and just um, focus and don't listen to others and try to achieve it and give your best. Thank you. My question is, I am planning for this year to kind of get, I don't know, like at least 3 certifications of Salesforce. What is the time frame you recommend me to maybe not take too much time or not take too little time? What's a good amount of time if I can invest every day at least like 2 hours?
I would recommend as coming back is also it don't. People often have a misunderstanding. I never study more than 2 to 4 hours a day. If I say I study a whole day, it's usually 4 hours, best case. Because studying is really hard and it's a marathon. So it's more important to be able to constantly, also to study for the next 5 years every day 15 minutes, than to now try study 2 hours and then to stop after a month because you don't feel like it anymore.
Right.
Okay.
So this 2 hours sounds like a lot. Some
Okay.
people can pull it off, again, I couldn't. Also sometimes this morning I studied 15 minutes, then I had to take a break because sometimes, I can't force studying. I don't know about you.
I can do it, but with the responsibilities and full-time job, it's challenging. And maybe 1 hour. I agree. It's more feasible.
I have a friend who studies 15 minutes every day, literally every single day, 15 minutes, and he has 350 trails now and 8 certifications after 4 years. 15 minutes a day is a lot if you just do it every single day. So
Okay.
rather 15 minutes every day than try to overdo it now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think it's the same with sport. We all start sport in January to try to exercise every day for 2 hours, and then we stop after the first time. Other questions? Maybe this was a great one.
Another thing I like in the entire presentation, like you said, like when you feel comfortable, it means you're on the right path. So when I'm going to share this recording with Twitter, that's going to be my caption.
If you're uncomfortable, you're on the right path.
If you're feeling uncomfortable, you are in the right path. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. I don't say don't listen to others. It's always, I listen a lot to others. Who knows me, I am on a lot of calls and I get feedback from people. This doesn't mean I don't listen to them. Somebody told me you never can be an architect because you don't have enterprise experience. I didn't listen to the part you don't be architect. I listened to the part, oh yeah, this is true. I don't have enterprise experience. This is actually true. So I listened to this part and then said, how can I get this? Okay, I can't work for an enterprise, but I can talk to people who are enterprise architects.
Right. Absolutely.
So yes, listen to people. Listen to them all the time.
Yep. Absolutely.
But take your own conclusions.
Correct. Yep. Nope. Thank you so much. Anyone is having any more questions for Johan? Otherwise, it's such a great session, Johan. As I said, we are all pumped up. We are all inspired now.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, I think we don't have any more questions. So thank you so much, Johan, and everybody. You'll get a recording of this session and also the presentation later tonight. Thank you, Johan. Thanks for coming and happy.
See you. Bye. Have a good time.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.